I remember back in high school. It was a little while ago, but I do remember it. I was on the internet. It was reasonably new at the time. I don't really remember what I did on the internet most of the time back then. Well, I remember one thing, but let's not get into that. I know I was on MSN Messenger a lot, just talking to people who in some cases were sitting close enough that we could have just gotten together and talked. I remember visiting NHL.com a little bit, WWF.com quite a bit. We got a new Sable, Sunny picture, anything happening here? It'd take like an hour and a half to load the web page, but I do remember specifically seeing, I don't know whether we would have known to call it a meme at the time, but that's what it was in today's parlance. I don't even know where I would have seen it if it wasn't on NHL.com or WWF.com. But it was this sort of old medieval setting with ancient font. I wouldn't even take a stab at which font it was. I know they all have names. But it was clearly trying to give you this sort of throwback ancient Roman feel. And it said, "The beatings will continue until morale improves." And I know in 2025, most of you have heard that little quote several times, and it's clever and it's funny. But in grade 10 or whatever the hell I would have been at the time, grade 10 Matt thought that was hysterical. That was about the most clever thing he'd ever read. Like, I get it, because beatings don't improve morale. I was a very smart kid in between visits to WWF.com. And other places. And again, I don't even know where I would have seen it. Like I said, maybe somebody's MSN Messenger picture was cheekily changed to that quote. I don't know where else I used to go. I literally don't remember. Do you still visit websites today? I go on Twitter, and there are links to websites there, but I don't remember the last time I just went on the web and typed in a website without having a reason to go there. Sport Check or a brewery's website or something to look up specifically. Before Twitter, where all these links are just presented to you, I don't remember how I used to navigate around. So I don't remember where this quote would have come upon me. Albino black sheep, was that a thing? Yeah. What was the Veggie Fingers and Homestar Runner and whatever? This quote has stuck with me for a long time, and it's not because I've remembered it. It's because I discovered after the fact that it wasn't new then, Matt. Whenever it was initially written, probably 70 years ago, 100 years ago, 300 years ago, I have no fucking idea. It was probably clever then. But in grade 10, I stumbled across it for the first time. I went, that's really smart. That's funny. I like that. And I like it less tonight. Because that's all this feels like. On Tuesday night, we had our friend AJ Jackie back in the studio. And we had a really good chat about Canada's outlook for the FIFA World Cup coming up next summer. Some of the changes the Red Blacks have made. Some hockey. There was a lot of stuff in the conversation. And then AJ left, and I watched a good portion of the Leaf game. Not all of it. The conversation had spilled over, as it does from time to time with AJ, and so I'd missed a good portion of the Leaf game, but I did see a lot of it. And then I stayed up after the fact to watch the PWHL game, Ottawa and Vancouver. And by the end of that, I was just like, I've got so much to say on both of these games. This is all shit. I can't. I got to talk about it. But by then it's 12:30 in the morning. You're like, I don't have to talk about it that bad. I'm going to take some notes. I wrote some things down, and I'll record them on Wednesday. Then I got up on Wednesday, I'm like, maybe they're not that big of a deal. Let's just let it ride. And so I was going to let everybody off the hook. Because as I'm sitting here recording this, it's like 10:15, 10:20 on Thursday night, and clearly I'm no longer in the mood to let people off the hook. I have just watched another awful Leaf game. My feelings on what happened around the PWHL have not changed. And we're still having conversations about Jordan Binnington being a part of the Canadian Olympic hockey team. These three things are not related, other than the fact that they all came across my screen in a pretty limited window. And our friend the pigeon, Graham Creech, was like, you should go record. And I gave him the guffaw. I used to do that. I'm too old now. I'm too tired now. I just want to go to bed. And then one quote came across my screen that said, you know what? Nope, I'm not too tired. Let's go do this right now. Because even then I had said to Creech, yeah, I'll do it Friday morning. These things will hold. These feelings will hold. And one quote came across my screen. And I decided, we're going to go and do this right now. So the Leafs lose 4-0. I shut it off after the second period because, well, they were bad and there was no chance they were coming back. And I think it was 3-0 at the time. Maybe I watched the beginning of the third. I watched until it was 3-0 anyway. So end of the second, early in the third. And then I decided, I'm good. Went and wrapped a couple of Christmas gifts. Packing a couple things up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to blow home for a little while. And then the game ends, and I'm checking Twitter, and I already sort of know what's happened. But then I see this quote, and someone asks the brilliant coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, given a 5-year contract, because he won a cup one time 6 or 7 years ago. On the back of a hawk goalie. It's neither here nor there. I'm sure he was full marks for it. And they said, how can you explain your team's effort? Which was shit. I'm not putting this all on Craig Berube. His team's effort was shit. It has been for large parts of the season. And they deserve to be criticized for that. How do you explain that kind of effort? Given the standings and everything. And he kind of shrugs and nods at the locker room and goes, well, you'll have to ask them. You'll have to ask those guys, not me. Did you not just 1 game ago, 2 games ago, call out your leadership group and say, we need more from our leadership? That big inhale there, I'm sorry. I was about to explode. I was about to yell. But I wasn't far enough from the microphone. They teach you. You can raise your voice, you can yell, but you have to be backing away from the microphone as you do it, so you don't blow people's eardrums out. And I sort of realized at the second that as I was boiling over, I hadn't backed off of the microphone. But that is a ridiculous quote. You don't get to be the head coach of a professional sports team calling out other people's leadership and then go, ask those guys, I don't know, I have nothing to do with it. Really, are you a part of this or not? Because as a leader, you go down with the ship, man. And even if you are exasperated, even if you are out of ideas, even if you think I have done everything I can possibly do as a coach, I don't know how to reach these guys, you don't go to the media and say, it's all their fault. Guys, I'm innocent. I'm brilliant. Fuck off, man. Fuck you. I am so sick of this guy. And the media giving him a pass at every turn. How many times have we seen a headline saying, it looks like the Leafs have forced Berube to his breaking point, and it's video of him out at another practice just yelling at somebody. Forget the repeated screaming at Willie on the bench in public, which is nothing but inflating your own ego. Otherwise, maybe you'd pull somebody else aside once in a while. It's always Willie, and it's because Willie won't fight back, and everybody's like, Willie can handle it. Willie's cool. Willie's so great for Toronto. At some point, everybody gets sick of being yelled at. Pull Matthews aside. Pull Domi aside. Can't do that. Dad's part of the alumni. Can't do that. I want to yell on TV when I know the cameras are on me at Willie so everyone can see I'm doing something. I'm helping. Flash the next day at practice. Is he doing anything? Is he drawing up a new breakout? Is he getting rid of fucking Mark Savard, who hasn't been able to run a power play in years? Forget just here. He was working in Calgary. The Leafs went to the Flames and said, hey, can we take your assistant coach to be our assistant coach? No promotion, no advancement, just we want to take your guy to be our guy. And Calgary went, yeah, that's cool. Why do you think Calgary did that? If he was valuable, if he was helpful, if he was contributing or doing something, they would have said, go fuck yourself, find a new coach. The fact that they said, yeah, that's cool, take him, probably should have been alarm bell number one. This isn't going to be a Mark Savard podcast, but your power play sucks. Calgary's power play sucked. Find the common denominator. It's Mark Savard. Bang. Is Willie good enough right now? No. Is Austin Matthews good enough right now? No. Matthew Nyes, Morgan Riley, whoever else you want to throw in there. John Tavares lately on the power play. Not good enough. Not that anybody passes them the fucking puck. But the coaching on the power play stinks. Craig Berube is the head coach. He has the ability to take that over and go, you know what, I'm not happy with how this is going. I'm going to draw it up this time. Where's your big idea, Craig? Chief? What do you got for us, man? Any ideas on how to stop us from getting fucking blitzed through the neutral zone? Rush chances out the asshole. Anything at 5-on-5 to help get us going? A better breakout play? Anything? No? Okay. Just another practice of screaming, try harder, work harder, do more. Do you have any actual insight? Do you have anything to contribute other than the screaming will continue until morale improves? This guy is a joke. Lives in the esteemed ranks of Toronto Maple Leaf coaches alongside your Peter Horacheks, who hora-wrecked himself. Nick Beverly, Mike Kitchen, remember that? We're going back to the 90s now, when we had to fire Pat Burns, and we're like, this season's over, man. We're just going to ride this into the fucking ground, and whoever's got to be behind the bench while it happens, so be it. That was fine. Except you gave this guy 5 fucking years. Based on one hot run that coincided with one hot run from a goaltender who came up from the minors that year. Did anybody think that was sustainable? Have you watched the Blues since 2019? Just mediocrity. When Binnington was hot for 4 months, Craig Berube got a cup. Leafs are like, we'll give that guy 5 years. You have a Jordan Binnington getting ready to go on the run of a lifetime. Well, sure, we'll figure it out. We have 2 goalies who can play at least 3 or 4 games at a time before falling apart. Is that enough? Yeah, well, we got 2 of them. What about when they're both hurt? Yeah, I don't know. We'll find somebody in the minors. It'll be fine. This is a joke. I don't know what to make of Austin Matthews right now, and he deserves some wrath. He deserves the booze. The fact that he did the hand thing against Chicago. They played like shit against Chicago. You're down 2-0. Those guys don't have Luchenkov. They don't have Bedard. They're beating you 2-0, almost 3-0. You get lucky, a goal gets called back. And all of a sudden, you come back and pull one out of the fire in the last minute. Dakota Joshua scores 8 seconds after Austin Matthews scores to tie the game. You want to hang your hat on that? You want to talk about sustainability, the ability to win long term? Dakota Joshua is going to score miracle goals out of no. You played like shit and you won a miracle one. That's happened too many times. I just texted Rob tonight, going into the third period, that this was already the 6th game. The Leafs were going into the third period without having yet scored a goal. And in those games, they were 3-1-1. Does that seem sustainable to you? That you can play 40 minutes without scoring and just pull those out of the fire at a 3-1-1 pace? Probably not. Didn't work tonight, did it? This team isn't good. And it is not all Craig Berube's fault. Kyle Dubas started to strip this thing down in the wrong direction before he left. And then fucking Pizza Boy started to strip it down even further and go in the wrong direction. When he got his hands on it, he fired Sheldon Keefe. I don't know. Sure. Did they need a new voice? At some point, do you have to change things? I guess. Was Craig Berube ever the guy? No. Did I say that in the moment? Yes. This is not the guy. And this has turned out to be not the guy. And I tell you what, if he doesn't utter that stupid-ass quote tonight, I'm in bed right now. And you're not all listening to this on Friday morning going, I'm listening to a crazy person here. I didn't even crack a beer to start this show. I wish I had. I might yet. This team stinks. I was willing to give Willie a bit of a pass because he got off to such a hot start, and then everyone could tell he was either hurt or sick or something. All right, I'll give him 2 games. Like Willie, I'll give him 4 games. Where you been, man? It's been like 8 games now. More than that. Austin Matthews, I don't know. Guy seems permanently broken. I had a little bit of time for the idea that his injury, whatever had happened, might take a little bit off of him, and he would go from being like a 60-goal guy to like a 47 to 52-goal guy. Combine that with a new system that Craig Berube was asking him to play, would give him maybe a few other chances, or a few less chances, I mean. So maybe that becomes an issue, and he's like a 45-goal guy. This guy's broken. This is not just the system. This is not just what Craig Berube is asking of him. This guy has something wrong with him, and he's going to continue to get booed. He's going to continue to be questioned about his effort and his leadership and all these things until they come out and just say, hey, yeah, I don't know. He shattered 6 vertebrae a year and a half ago, and he's having a hard time skating now. I don't think that's exactly what happened. Back in NHL 99, once in a blue moon when you were playing that on the first edition PlayStation, your guy would just fall over after a hit, and they would make up an injury. Dislocated shoulder, sprained knee, and once in a blue moon, it would say lacerated testicle. I don't know who put that in there. I don't know what game dev thought that was funny. I'm with you, man. That was funny. Maybe Austin Matthews has a lacerated testicle. You'd think it would have healed in 18 months, but I don't know how long it takes to get over an injury like that. At this point, it just seems like this is what Matthews is. But as long as you as a franchise refuse to come out and actually talk about it, people are going to get pissed at that guy. Maybe you could get people off his back by saying, hey, you know, he right now is only operating on one hip or something. I don't know. Maybe he's perfectly healthy and he just stinks now and doesn't care or whatever. I don't think that's what it is, but until you talk to people, they're going to question him. They're going to boo him, and he's going to give his little Hulk Hogan hand-to-ear thing, and it's, yay. The team's not very good. The guy who built it isn't very good, and the guy who's coaching it is really not any good. And if he doesn't come out tonight and say, well, that's those guys, I'm not in here right now having this conversation. Leaders don't do that. Coaches don't do that. We are in the foxhole together. He gets to go in if he wants to behind closed doors and continue to scream at those guys. The screaming will continue until morale improves. It's really helped thus far. He can do it, though, if he wants. But only a fucking asshole goes out to the media and kind of shrugs. I don't know. Who's them? It's like talking to your grade 10 kid or whatever. Why'd you do that? Why'd you lie right there? Oh. Well, my friend said, well, talk to my friend. Craig Berube doesn't have fucking friends. Actually, the problem is Craig Berube does have friends, and that's why he's employed right now. The Leafs stink. Treliving stinks. And Craig Berube stinks. Especially tonight. I mentioned the PWHL thing. Just quickly. I watched the Tuesday night game out in Vancouver. And they sort of do these broadcasts. It's not 100% this way, but regionally, right? Like if your team is in Boston, they kind of have their people in Boston. If your team is in Minnesota, they have a crew in Minnesota. I haven't seen a Seattle game yet. I don't know how that works out there. I'm sure they have their people. But they do also have kind of their traveling crew. Like Daniela Ponticelli moves around a little bit. Certainly Kenzie Lalonde and Cheryl Pounder, what we would mostly consider to be the A team, they'll move around a little bit. But this was my first time watching a home game for the Vancouver Golden Knights hosting the Ottawa Charge on Tuesday night at 10 o'clock. And man, the broadcast wasn't good, with one exception. James Cybulski on play-by-play, I thought was terrific. A ton of energy. And I said this on Twitter, and somebody kind of gave me shit, which is going to be an element we'll circle back to in a moment. I didn't mean to be an asshole. I said I was not familiar with James Cybulski as a play-by-play guy outside of the EA Sports video games here, which I believe he took over in 2021 or 2022. I haven't played the games as much as I used to. I go all the way back to the Jim Hewson days, and I think he started on NHL 98. We had Gary Thorne in the mid-2000s. That was awesome. He was really good. It's been through some different play-by-play guys and broadcast teams. Ray Ferraro was in there for a while. That was awesome. But at some point here over the last 5 to 8 years, James Cybulski took over on play-by-play in the EA Sports video games. And that's all I knew him from as far as play-by-play goes. I have seen James Cybulski back in the day on SportsCenter or the score. Like, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I don't remember, but I know he's done some highlight shows. I've seen him do talk radio, certainly. But whether he had done play-by-play before EA Sports and the PWHL, I'm not certain. It's really not that big of a deal, but I just pointed out, hey, I think James Cybulski's calling a really nice game here. Wasn't aware he did this other than on the video game. And I, of course, get a DM almost immediately saying, don't be a douchebag. He's done play-by-play. Okay. I mean, maybe I am being a douchebag. It's not a horribly unfair accusation. I do come off that way quite a bit, perhaps even inside this episode. I'm just saying I've never heard him do play-by-play outside of the video game until tonight, and he was doing a great job. The guy beside him, don't even know his name, could have sworn he was having to be elbowed awake every time it was his turn to talk. Could not have seemed less engaged, less interested. And look, this is a league right now that's having a hard time getting its scoring up, unless you're cheering for the Boston Fleet. You need to help create a little enthusiasm. You need to help create a little excitement. And when you have James Cybulski calling a great game, here comes the action up and down the ice. Here we go. The guy says, yeah, that was fun. Did we wake you up, Eeyore? What's going on, man? Should we get you a coffee here in the booth? And the reason I bring it up, first of all, I didn't think the guy was doing a very good job. And I tweeted that out as well. And within like 8 minutes, I've got a DM from somebody I respect quite a bit and a friend of the show saying, oh, I know that guy. Like, he's a really good guy. You should take it easy on him. Why? Did I say he was a bad guy? Did I say he mistreated his family? Did I say he kicks puppies? Or did I say, get your head in the game and call a better... This is one of these things. I was just talking to our friend, not sure I should mention the name here. Just talking to a friend of the show the other day. I don't want to edit this, so you're just alongside here as we go through a bit of a stream of consciousness. I'm not going to name the guy I was speaking to, but I said, I'm feeling a little boxed in here on TCA lately. When you say, you know what, Jeff O'Neill is pretty interesting as a talk radio host. I see why people like that. But I'm not sure I love him as the permanent replacement for Bob McKenzie on the World Juniors. and you get a DM from somebody who works for TSN who's sort of friendly, hey, don't do that. It kind of makes it hard for me to come on later. Like, well, then maybe the show is a little bit overdue for a bit of a heel turn. Maybe it means fewer guests, but at some point you got to be able to be on it. That's not a criticism. I have no idea if Jeff O'Neill is the best guy in the world or a total douche. Most people seem to speak highly of him, so I assume he's a pretty good guy. And I assume people like him on the radio. I like him on the radio. Helps create an entertaining show with Hayes and O-Dog, and they kind of kick it around back and forth and have a nice debate. I don't always agree with O-Dog. Sometimes I do. But that's not what I'm looking for in a professional breakdown of a World Junior game. Bob McKenzie would sit there with James Duthie during a quarterfinal between Switzerland and Finland and speak in an educated way about these two teams, while Jeff O'Neill had gone home if Canada had been eliminated. Or he was still in town, but just waiting for the Canada game because those were the guys he could be bothered to study. And now, Bob is gone, and O-Dog will be the guy guiding us through Finland, Switzerland. It's not going to go well. He's not that kind of broadcaster. If you're paying attention, you will note here that I have not said one personal thing about Jeff O'Neill. We are critiquing him as a broadcaster, and that's what this was on Tuesday night. Talking about the guy that the PWHL was allowing to do color on a Vancouver-Ottawa game, who seemed somewhat informed. He seemed to know the game, what someone should have done with the play, but he did not seem comfortable with all the players. They also couldn't be bothered on that broadcast to provide a first and second intermission panel, or even just a host and a guest to talk about it. It was just prepackaged PWHL fluff pieces and promo commercials to flesh out. That's going to be funny for a few of you, not for all of you. Just flesh out the commercials, the promo material. Here it all is. Do you have anything to contribute during the intermissions and tell us? Nah. It was a bad broadcast. James Cybulski was great. The color guy wasn't. And there was no one to speak of as in terms of host and panel. It was a shit broadcast. Good league. Good teams. Well, maybe one good team. Not certain mine's a good team. Didn't bother to stay up on Wednesday night when Ottawa went down to Seattle to play the next game. Glad I didn't. Didn't go any better. Last thing, let's get to it here because this is going to come up on Monday the 30th, Monday the 29th, the last Monday of 2025. Rob and I will unveil our Team Canada Olympic men's rosters. And the Jordan Binnington of it all will come up. And I can tell you, I don't know yet what Rob's going to have to say. Jordan Binnington didn't come within a fucking sniff of getting on my roster this year. And I keep seeing your Pierre LeBruns and your whatever. Well, there's the loyalty, and he was really great at the Four Nations. Was he really great in the Four Nations, or did he have really great overtime? Because those are different things. He's full value for being spectacular in the 2019 Stanley Cup playoffs. That was a little while ago. Some of you might remember that was a whole other world ago. Some things have changed since 2019. In fact, they started to change the very next year. Jordan Binnington, this year, as I said a few minutes ago, is ranked 45th in the league in terms of starting goaltenders in goals saved above expected statistics. And there's only 32 teams. We don't have 45 starters in the league. That's how bad Jordan Binnington has been. And we're supposed to consider the fact that he's still even an option for the Olympic team. Why? Well, because he did that thing 6.5 years ago. And he had that really good overtime last year. And his buddy is running the team. Doug Armstrong is the current general manager, getting ready to step away and become just president of the Blues, whatever, this year, but also running Team Canada. On merit alone, we don't even discuss Jordan Binnington. He is similar to Samuel Montembeault, who's actually been sent to the minors by the Habs this year. While Binnington's numbers have been worse. Yeah, but, he's been clutch before. He's got that big game. Shut up. In that same statistic that I mentioned a moment ago, where Jordan Binnington is 45th in the league in terms of starting goaltenders, Logan Thompson is 2nd, Darcy Kemper is 6th, and Mackenzie Blackwood is 14th. What are we talking about? That's that thing where you have to back off the microphone before you get indignant and yell. Canada doesn't have a goaltending problem right now. As Dom Luszczyszyn put it, Canada has a choosing the right goalie problem right now. There are 3 guys, absolute locks, miles better than Jordan Binnington. You don't even have to have a conversation outside of the fact that, well, his buddy's picking the team. And, he was good for a few minutes there last year. What the fuck? This is... If there's no history, if we are just evaluating on the work that you've done for me lately, Jordan Binnington is not even in the conversation. We wouldn't even bring his name up. You'd be wondering why the Blues haven't just sent this random schlub down to the minors. Oh, yeah, but he did that thing 6 years ago, 7 years ago. So, potentially, he gets to sewer an entire nation's Olympic dreams. It's a joke. He's taken some strays here. Random color guy on the PWHL. Like I said, all of these things have been on my mind since Tuesday. Like I said, I went to bed Tuesday. I was just like, nope, it's okay. Wake up Wednesday, see if it's still worth it to you to do the show. And it wasn't. And then it all boiled over again on Thursday. And so here we are. And again, I partially blame Graham Creech. As we all do. For just about everything in life, right? It's Creech's fault. I just... Like everything all the way back to the Leafs. Like on Tuesday, I'm like, yeah, you won, but you still looked like shit. You almost got beat by Chicago without their top 2 players. You pulled it out of the fire. Congratulations. Come out, somehow played worse on Thursday. And yeah, combined Craig Berube's ridiculous quote, where he somehow wants all the credit when things go well, but to be not part of the group when things go poorly. You combine it with, what I thought of that PWHL broadcast. The talk that we are actually still... It's Pierre LeBrun on Insider Trading on Thursday, saying, I fully expect Jordan Binnington will still be there. Based on what? And I'm not even ripping Pierre here. He's got sources. There's an old expression my dad used to use for the really, really bad people in the world. Like really bad people, not just somebody who irritates you dating. That guy should be taken out and pissed on. I always like that. It was a great, great phrase. If you select Jordan Binnington to my Olympic team, you should be taken out and pissed on. I think that's what we can wrap up the week. Shit my dad said. What was the old... I think it was a book or something first, and then it became a TV show. Whatever. You guys have no idea. I'm going to sit down with my dad sometime. I'll do a podcast with the old man. He'll refuse to do it. Absolutely. The real shit, my dad said. That's enough for 1 week of shit Matt said. I should have just gone to bed. But it's out here now. Blame Creech. I think I'm going to title this episode Blame Creech. Hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Rob and I will be back again on Monday. We're here through the holidays. We've been putting stuff together for you guys. You know we don't abandon you. We love you. Sort of thought you'd say it back, but that's okay. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
That's it. I cannot work under these conditions. If anybody wants me, I'll be downstairs at McDougal's. Call the weekend guy. I don't care.